Guys, thanks for tuning in into Roll Tide Imports, T-Imports. I'm Uli, this is Sean. Today we want to show you a bunch of Czech Mausers we received in our last shipment. These are rifles which are built on German machinery. Many have already German parts. So, for example, the receivers are marked with a DOU-45, DOT-45, or SWP-45. And they feature all the laminated stock, and these guns were actually made for export for Ethiopia. Many of them have the stock emblem, with the for the Ethiopian crest, and they're fairly complete. What might be missing is a handguard, maybe an upper band or lower band, or a spring, but they do not have a bolt. So, Sean, tell us some more details about these guns.
Sure. Well, these are pretty special. As some of you may be aware, we had imported another batch of these previously in a little bit better condition, a little bit more complete. But as a result of these being a little less complete, you're able to get these at a much reduced price. As Uli mentioned, these do not have a bolt, and they may be missing some small parts. So you may be missing a front sight, maybe a rear sight slider, barrel band may have some damage, stuff like that. But all components are fairly available on the aftermarket market. And it's a great starting point. So if you want to restore this into what it originally was as a export model for Ethiopia, or if you want to use it for something else, use it as a parts gun, kind of you name it, it's a great starting point.
Yeah, these are all true Mauser 98 actions, and you get a true piece of history here, and which is basically ideal for your collection. Or if you want to do it into a sporting guns, whether you want to do a marksman rifle or a sniper rifle, or even a sporting rifle, your hunting rifle, you'll be able to do this because these are true Mauser 98 actions.
Very good.
So, alrighty. Thank you for watching. God bless, and God bless America.
All right, folks, let's take a closer look at these Mausers. Starting with the Mauser on top here, let's take a closer look at the back end of the stock. As you can see, this one has the coin of St. George slaying the dragon. It's a little hard to see, obscured by the white paint, but that is what's present on the coin. And speaking of the paint, you can see that this one is unit marked. They often have a 2-digit followed by a dash and a 4-digit unit mark on the side of these rifles, along with some of the other guns, such as the Enfields, SAFNs, etc. Moving on, let's take a closer look at the receiver markings. This one in particular is a DOU 45 with the Model 98 roll mark on top, meaning that it would not have a Model 98 on the side of the receiver. Others that do not feature the Model 98 on top often have the same marking on the side. And as we go along, you can see this one in particular does have most of its components, but sometimes they may be missing some small parts such as the barrel retaining spring or a front sight. As you can see, many are missing the front sight hood as well. And another thing to point out here is that you can see, it's a little bit hard to notice at first glance, but if we back up here, you can see that this barrel band has a small hole in the center of it, while this one does not. It only has the rear hole to retain the barrel band spring. This would have been a very late war pattern where they were using screws instead of the traditional barrel band spring to retain the bands. You will also sometimes see a hole on the other side, such as this barrel band. Same concept, there's a small wood screw that would have gone through to semi-permanently keep that barrel band in place. Compared to this one, which is on its proper orientation with the sling swivel on the left, or the barrel band, you can see this one does not have the screw hole, while of course that one does. Moving on, this one has a missing handguard, as well as some damage to the stock. You can see that some of these have some fairly serious chunks and dings and dents taken out of the stocks, but the stocks are mostly there. The stocks may have some cracks, so you can see on this one it does have some cracks forming from the wrist area. And let's take a look at the receiver marking of this one. This one is very similar with a Model 98. DOU 45. And as we mentioned previously, you'll find 3 different codes on these Ethiopian contract post-wars. They are the DOU 45, the DOT 1945, and SWP 45. And you can see sometimes they will wrap various string, cloth, animal hide, anything like that on some components of the gun, such as what you see here. This one in particular is a DOT 1945. And here's another interesting thing is, and it's a little hard to see, but you'll see a Waffen-Opp 63 on top of the barrel, meaning that this was very likely made using German World War II parts. That also has a DOT stamp and a shield with a 13. Again, indicative that this was using leftover wartime parts. One last thing we'll focus on is that these feature the winter trigger guard. As you can see, it has the all stamped with the non-removable floor plate design. These are the very later pattern for K98s, primarily post-war. And of course, same general condition as some of the others. You can see this one does have the front spike, does have the bayonet lug. Just needs some work, and it has some wear on the wood, of course. But overall, for the price point these come in at, it is certainly a great starting point. Thank you very much for watching. God bless.